Before we go there, I just would like to describe our process for those of you who have never been here before. We are a committee of Manhattan Community Board 4. Applicants come before us. We make a recommendation and only make a recommendation to the full board, which meets the first Wednesday of the month. We'll be meeting in December. And the full board either accepts our recommendation, makes modifications to our recommendations, or rejects our recommendation, and they make the recommendation to the State Liquor Authority. Again, State Liquor Authority is the only one who can approve or disapprove of a liquor license, okay? We, in our process, request that if the liquor authority, State Liquor Authority, does grant a license, they include the stipulations that we mention in our recommendations as part of the operations of the applicant. So if they do not follow those stipulations, which are included in the licensing operations, then they're in violation. Okay, now I'd like to have us introduce ourselves. Oh, I forgot one more thing. Applicants come before us, make the presentation. We, the committee, have questions. Then we open it, and comments, and we open it up then to members of the community who have comments on the application, and then we take our vote.
Okay.
I think I got it all. Okay, Frank.
I'm the co-chair. I'll just add some introductory remarks. As Bert alluded to, part of the ruling that lets us meet on Zoom requires us to transmit this meeting live on YouTube, where it will stay on video, probably in perpetuity. So everyone should keep that in mind in their demeanor at this meeting. For people, there are a fair number of participants here, so I just wanted to explain how this works. The only people you're seeing on screen are the committee members, the applicants, and the applicant attorneys. Everyone else is listed simply as an attendee at the meeting. As we call each agenda item, if you are a member of the public and want to speak on that matter, we ask you to use the raise hand function. And Nellie Gonzalez, our assistant district manager of the community board, will move people over for that particular item. But again, only raise your hand if you want to speak on the item after it's been called. And you will be moved over to the meeting. We'll be able to see you, and vice versa. There's one agenda change. Agenda items 530 West 33rd Street has been postponed. This was going to be an outdoor venue in the Hudson Yards Park. And as was true for the last applicant we had like this, we all thought it made more sense for the applicant to go to Clinton Land Use Committee first to determine if there are any zoning or other obstacles to another venue opening there. So this applicant will be going before the Clinton Land Use Committee at their next meeting and not appearing here tonight. And after that, let's see, Inga, you want to say hello?
Sure. Hi, Inga Ivchenko, public member.
Christine?
You're muted, Christine.
Christine Berthet, member.
Okay. Tina?
Jesse. Oh,
Tina Nelson, member.
Jesse?
Jesse Greenwald, member. Hello.
Carrie?
Carrie Keenan, member.
Candace?
Michael.
Ah,
I guess
Mike
that was
Noble,
pretty good difference.
Mike Noble, member.
okay. Now Candace.
Candace Hewitt, member.
And Ted?
Ted Arenas, member.
Okay. Nellie, do we know who's on by phone?
334. Isn't it?
Who's ever on phone with the phone number ending in 334, could you unmute and identify yourself, please?
John Springer, this is John Springer. I'm the representative for Via Toscana, 345 West 52nd Street. The applicant is actually on the line with me. I immersed him into my call.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll call you at the appropriate time.
Okay, everybody is introduced, everybody's smiling, we're on YouTube in perpetuity, as Frank says.
Oh, one other thing, for the committee and the public, the agenda gets more complicated as it goes on tonight, and we have a couple of members who potentially need to leave early, so I would urge people to let's try to move quickly through the more straightforward items of the agenda.
Okay, we're going to start with some of those straightforward items. As you may notice on the agenda, our items are grouped by the type of license. So the first grouping number 1, is the new wine, beer, and cider license applications. And number 1 on this is 683, 685 9th Avenue. Okay, it's called the Tipsy Shanghai. Is the applicant here?
Yes. Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Yinghui He, represent Tipsy Shanghai 683 Inc. The address is 401-4 Street, West 42nd Street, North Store with basement, New York. So.
Do you want to say something about your operation?
Okay, our client is going to operate the Chinese restaurant, and the operating hour was from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. We like to obtain the beer and the wine side license. Our client have was extended experience in operating restaurant. He this is the 6th restaurant in the Manhattan. Three of them have the liquor license. He doing pretty good. So so he know all the rules and obeyed all the regulations regarding the liquor license requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any?
Wait, I just had a couple of questions
Yeah.
about the form. On page 1 of our stipulation form, you said the 200-foot rule is applicable down at the bottom, but if you're only seeking a beer and wine license, the 200-foot rule doesn't apply.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to change that answer to no.
Okay, thank you.
Makes
And
life
then on
easier
page-
for you.
And then on page 2, you did not circle any kind of music. Are you going to have any music, background music or anything?
Oh, no music at all.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
No music.
No
All right.
music. Yeah.
No music.
That's all I
Good,
have.
Good. Okay, anybody else from the committee with a question, comment? Christine, did you have your moving your hand?
Yeah, motion. Motion to approve.
Oh, Nellie, do we have anyone from the community?
That goes first.
There's no one with a raised hand.
Okay, so Christine has a motion. Do we have a second to Christine's
Second.
motion? Tina seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Present not eligible? Abstaining. Okay, congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Okay, item 2, 659th Avenue, Master Tokyo Ramen. Also, the hours of operation, 11:30 a.m., 10:30 p.m., 7 days a week. Is the applicant here, please?
Yes, hi, this is a Jen Du from Michael Floyd Inc. And my client, I think he is online. Where is that?
Yeah, he's right there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this is Jen Du from Michael Floyd Inc. I represented Master Tokyo Ramen Inc., located at the 659th Avenue, South Retail, New York. And it's between West 45 and West 46th Street. Mr. Guanling Lu is a solo president. We are looking for, this is a Chinese, this is a Japanese restaurant. And operating hours from 11:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. from Monday to Sunday. And the kitchen will be closed 30 minutes before the restaurant close. There's a seats about the 30 seats and tables 11. We only play the soft background recorded music. There's no outdoor and no private no any like private party. And this is a restaurant wine, so therefore there's not applying for the 200 and the 500 rule hearing. And I'm here for questions.
Okay, just a couple of questions about your form. On page 2, where there are those occupancy numbers, you didn't provide a number for the capacity and the certificate of occupancy or the maximum number of people. Do you know those numbers, or can you get them to the board office in a couple of days?
Sure, because right now the architect is in the process of getting a letter of objection. So the maximum seats will be no more than 40 than 35. So right now we're just waiting for the letter of objection.
Okay, but so on the maximum number, I'll put 35 and.
Yes, because the seats are not 30. Yes. Okay.
Okay, and then maybe our form was confusing, but on page 5, the building design page, about halfway down, we say, will the establishment have any of the following? French doors, garage doors, windows that open. So I assume you're not going to have any of those?
No, we don't have any French door, any garage, any outdoor.
Okay. So then when you answered the next 2 questions, no, I think the better answer is to put not applicable. Because you're not refusing to do that, it just doesn't apply.
Sure.
Correct?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to change those answers to not applicable.
Sure.
Thank you, and Bert, that's what I have.
Okay, anyone else? Comments? Inga? And then Christine.
Yeah, you are on mute.
Mute. You're muted, Inga.
Was this licensed previously, this establishment? Because on their application, they said they weren't sure. Was it?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, it's been licensed a few times, Inga.
Okay, it's just been vacant for a while.
Yeah, the vacant for
Sometimes-
probably about more than a year.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes there are 2 establishments in one building, but I'm
What I
pretty
thought.
sure there's been several licensed places.
On the south, like a south side retail in the unit. Yeah.
Christine?
Motion to approve.
Wait, hold on. Is there anybody? Sorry, Christine. Anybody from the community, Nellie?
There's no one with a raised hand.
Okay, Christine has made a motion to approve.
Second.
Inga has seconded. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Present, not eligible. Who was aye? That was opposed, Ted?
Thank you so much.
No, it was approved.
Okay, abstaining, present, not eligible. Okay. Go for it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Item 3, the last one in this grouping, is 320 West 37th Street. It's the 2nd floor. The Pierre-Antoine Dance Studio. Now, Christine, I, and Frank all did a site visit on this. They're asking for, this is a dance studio. It's been operating for a while already. They're asking for a wine, beer, and cider license. And can you explain to us who didn't have the site visit what your operation is? And
Yes.
when do you want to have the use of the license?
Thank you. Thank you
you.
so much, Bert. Thank you, everybody, for having us on the agenda tonight. I'm Carrie Steinmetz. This is the legend, Emmanuel, Pierre-Antoine. We're the owners of the dance studio. We've been in operation since January, and we've had our grand opening in May. We provide an elegant atmosphere of hospitality and quality dance instruction for a wide variety of partner social dancing, both from competitive training to more informal social partner dancing. We have beautiful dance performances in this space with international champions like my partner, as well as showcases where even beginner dancers can perform for their family and friends. And wedding couples, and yes, as such. So this is the main reason we're looking for beer and wine license, so that we can enhance the experience of our patrons and the people who come to watch them perform in our space, as well as other, community social events. We're completely surrounded by commercial businesses with whom we have wonderful working relationships. We have hotels on either sides of us. And as you can tell from all the letters of support, everyone is really hoping the committee will approve this license. But we're happy to answer any questions you may have on our submission packet.
Thank you.
One of the concerns that we had when we went to visit was there's a terrace in the back.
Yes.
And the terrace, when we saw it, is a small terrace and occupied 1/3 of the space by the air conditioning units for the full building. Which causes more noise than anybody on the terrace. And the terrace backs up against commercial space. There's no residential space. Right, Christine, do you want to add anything?
No, yes, I had, it is a very, elegant facility. It seems clear to us that, it is primarily a dance studio. They spent a fortune on a beautiful dance floor that they're not going to want ruined by raucous behavior. And they're also only seeking a beer and wine license, which, makes it unlikely it will morph into anything that concerns us. I did have one question about the outdoor space. On the form, you said you wanted to keep it open until midnight, but I believe when we spoke, you said it was really 10 p.m.
Yes, so to be clear, the reason why we had to answer it this way because of the type of business we have, the form doesn't give us opportunity to answer otherwise. But to be clear, we never open the terrace. Even though we close at 10 p.m., the school, the terrace never open. In fact, let me just put it this way. It's an extra because usually dance studio don't need a terrace because everything is operational from inside. So everything is inside. So we happen to have this landlord giving us the second floor with the terrace, but we don't use it unless somebody go outside. And then for summer, maybe we might have a yoga class, maybe, but usually what we have at dance studio is from inside. We don't really use the terrace. Yeah. If there is music, we don't even, people can go outside, but they cannot open the window or open the door for music to go outside. Okay. It's a very class studio.
So will you agree, to the extent you do use the terrace, that you will not use it after 10 p.m. on weeknights and 11 p.m. on weekends, those on Friday and Saturday? Those are
yes, absolutely.
You don't have to keep it open, but you agree it won't be used later than that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to change.
Also, no sound on the terrace?
No, no sound.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and I'll change your answer on the form to you're agreeing to close at 10 and 11.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Carrie was that your question, Carrie? Okay. Inga.
I just have a question with the 2 a.m. I know you said you closed much earlier. 2 a.m. for a dance studio seems, I don't know, late, but I don't know.
They explained to us that they occasionally host very vetted private events at which Etienne is always on the premises for. So I think there is occasionally they may want the option to stay later, but they can confirm this. My understanding is those events are not that common, but the late ones would be even less common.
That's correct.
Emmanuel, sorry, I got your name wrong.
Yes, no, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah, that's exactly correct. We don't, the dance studio itself does not go until 2 a.m. Sometimes we even close at 9 p.m. Sometimes we close at 8:30, 8:45. Because when we don't have people, we'd rather not keep the studio open for electricity's sake, because it's a 10,000 square feet. It's when we have a special event that can go up to that time, and we always have security with us. Oh, so quite frankly, even the landlord, they're very clear with that. They want to make sure when we have a lot of people here, we must have security with it. So they won't even let us do things without security.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from committee members? Nellie?
May I invite the community to come dance with us sometime? Have some private lessons and group classes and have fun.
Okay, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, Nellie,
What about the ethics of that? But Nellie?
Nellie Twee has raised her hand. If you could move her over.
Huh? There she is, Twee.
Hi, everybody. I noticed on the agenda that it says the hours of operation says 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Was that supposed to be till 2 a.m.?
Yeah, I think it was a mid typo there.
Okay, and this goes to, I think, like Inga's question in terms of a 2 a.m. close and the events. When I
Exactly.
think of weddings and the special private events, they would still want to use the terrace. But are you saying that even if an event goes to 2 a.m., that terrace will be closed until 11?
Yes,
Correct.
correct.
10.
And 10 during the week.
10 and 11, right?
10, yes, 10.
10 during the week.
Yes, 10 during the next, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Twee. Anybody else from the community, Nellie?
No, there's no one else.
Okay, thank you. Tina, you have your hand up.
Sorry, I just noticed live music. What is the live music aspect?
Again, if there is a special performance of types, perhaps we have only had one time with some live music to accompany a dance performance. But this again is a special events.
And it's inside. It doesn't include the terrace.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, my only concern is your photo, and I wasn't there, unfortunately, on the walkthrough, but it looks like there are apartments next door. I could be wrong.
There is a hotel on one side to the east and a hotel the other side on the west.
Oh, thank you.
And we have a letter of support from the hotel.
And it's a completely commercial building.
And also, Mrs.
Motion,
Nelson.
oh, so, hold on, Emmanuel. Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Present not eligible? And those, okay, we're all done.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you, everybody.
You well. Now we're going on to our second group. Item number 4. 485 10th Avenue.
Yes,
Max, is this you?
that's me.
Would you like to present?
Hi, Max.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see everyone. I'm Max Bookman. I'm an attorney. My law firm is Pazetsky and Bookman. With me is Steve Tenedios, who just turned his camera on, and we are pleased to present tonight 45 10th Avenue. So this building is on the corner of 10th and 37th. It was built in around 2010. The space that we're in used to be Clyde Frazier's restaurant. It was there starting from the beginning of this building, and was there for many years until it closed. Steve is going to take 60% of that space, so it's not the entire Clyde Frazier space. It's a little over half of that space. Steve and his partners are extremely experienced. Their liquor licenses that they're on span several pages of supplements that we added to the questionnaire. By my count, it's roughly 27 liquor licenses that they've either been on or are on going back to 1990. And what they're going to do here is a Mexican restaurant. Reasonable closing hours, 11 to 11, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 11 to 12:30, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Background music, there is a DJ, but it's just a person who's playing the next background song. There's no entertainment level music. There's no dance floor. There's no dancing. Moving to the outside, there's no roadway dining. They are going to have a sidewalk cafe under the existing open restaurants program. Big sidewalks, both on 37th Street and on 10th Avenue. Focusing on the 10th Avenue, I mean, under the existing temporary DOT program, it's about a 25-foot sidewalk. They could take up about 17 feet and still leave an 8-foot clear path. That was never their plan. So in the plans that are submitted with our application materials, it's page 15 of the PDF. What their plan was for 10th Avenue was to have the sidewalk cafe go only out to the planters, which are in the middle of the sidewalk, which is about 9.5 feet. After speaking with some neighborhood stakeholders as recently as this afternoon, and talking with their architects, they've decided to limit it further. So the sidewalk cafe on 10th Avenue is now going to be drawn back even further. It's going to be about 6 feet 6 inches, which is going to leave a 3-foot clear path on the building side of the planters, on the one side of the planters, and 10 full feet still on the other side of those planters. If that's hard to imagine in your mind, we have the diagram on page 15 of the PDF, and we could discuss that if need be. We agreed to all your usual stipulations about closing times for outdoor areas and French doors, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Max, this is, your client is the operator of Kima, right, on West 35th Street?
That's right, Frank. That's one of their licenses.
Christine, did you go to that meeting? I believe so, with Joe and Restuccia. And so we had a fairly troubling meeting with your client in connection with Kima, where there were a couple major issues. It was attended by Christine, Joe Restuccia, who's another community board member, and Bob Monfato and some of his colleagues from the Hudson Yards Hell's Kitchen Alliance. Among the issues were that your client chopped down 2 sidewalk trees in front of his establishment in order to build his sidewalk dining, which required, not only were they planted by other people, but would have required permission, which they didn't get. And Bob Monfato sent us a letter saying that, there was, even though they continued to discuss this after our meeting, there was no real resolution. There were also concerns at that meeting about the establishment being open after the stipulated hours, drinking on the sidewalk, and general noise. And since then, I've gotten reports that, there's a lot of Uber congestion. There are a lot of, basically the sidewalk's not being patrolled. There's a lot of sidewalk congestion, people smoking immediately in front of residential buildings where they're not supposed to be smoking, people bringing drinks out to the sidewalk when they smoke, which is not good. And what I've been told is a major ongoing trash problem that the Alliance is out there dealing with the restaurant's trash on a weekly basis. Someone told me it's like they put the trash out and then pretend it doesn't exist. Sometimes it gets moved down in front of the rail cut, but the trash seems to be a major issue. So, particularly with you wanting to have outdoor seating so near those. Oh, and for the committee, there are major tree pits along this 10th Avenue sidewalk of the current location that we're considering tonight, that were installed and are maintained by the Hudson Yards Alliance, but it was a major undertaking. It did a lot to sort of brighten up and make palatable what was this major concrete expanse. So I think we need to be very concerned about what is going to happen with those trees. I believe the applicant met with the Alliance today, and the Alliance was sort of reassured that everyone was on the same page about where the cafe was going to be and that the trees wouldn't be disturbed. But I just wanted people to have that history with this applicant, and Christine, who's at the meeting and familiar with the issues, can also chime in.
Yeah, I see. I mean, you know, it's hand up, and Christine.
Okay.
going to obviously ask Christine, have they replaced the trees at the other location? Are they going to replace the trees at the end? My vote is no. If you
They
cut
have
down
not-
trees,
Right, they
No.
have not replaced the trees. When they cut the tree, then they put concrete in the tree pit. Since then, it has been impossible to connect with anyone who is interested. And on the other side, so anyway, it has been very, very.
anyone that does that should not have any liquor
Well, I
license.
want to add to
I'm
whatever
sorry.
the plan is. If there is 3 feet, the law, even though today, is to leave 8 feet from the tables and the 3 feet aisle to the plantings. And the plantings have a, what is it called? A tree guard. The
Around
rule
them.
is that you have to have 8 feet to the tree guard.
Correct.
Regardless that the trees are in the middle of the block,
Correct.
etc. This
Yeah.
is 8 feet to the tree guard. So it's supposed to be the tables, 3 feet, and then 8 feet. If we don't have that, this is not good. And I don't think we can do anything and approve anything until they have replaced those trees.
Those other trees, I think
Which
that.
we have been trying to get for 3 years.
And they should replace them happily with bigger and better trees than
bigger
what they
and
tore
better
down.
And then
Correct.
Steve, if you are a client, Max, also the owner, partner of Metro Kitchen.
Steve? You're on mute. You're on mute, Steve.
You're on mute, Steve.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What is the question?
Are you still partner or owner of Metro Kitchen?
I am.
Okay, so Metro Kitchen is on 38th Street. And
Yes.
for 15 years now, in spite of discussions, etc., the garbage is absolutely a major problem. The garbage, the containers that you have are not sufficient. Therefore, they are overflowing. And all the containers, which are, wait a minute.
Hold on, Steve, please.
I'm speaking.
Moving.
Steve, one at a time, please.
Speaking.
Moving December 31st, so you don't need to
Steve, I'm just speaking right now.
Christine,
Let me finish.
speaking.
The point is that we talked about it when you booked another restaurant, we say you have going to fix it. The garbage is totally overflowing and they have like 6 containers or 7 containers and all of them are overflowing and they are overflowing every night. So, and this, even though we raised that and we discussed that 10 years ago and 5 years ago, it's still not done. So bottom line is that this operator is not a good neighbor. And I would leave it at that. Once they are approved, there is nothing you can get done.
Okay, anybody else from the committee? Do we have anybody from the community, Ally?
Yes, Twee.
Okay.
You're on mute.
Where's Twee?
It's very different being a participant than a panelist, I'll tell you that. It takes a second. But just in hearing this conversation, one thing that sort of came in and out during the interruptions that between Steve and Christine was that Steve said that they're moving out of 38th Street by December 31st, so don't worry about it. That's what I heard. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay, so that to me doesn't, I mean, if I were still a panelist, that to me doesn't mean anything. That just means for the next 6 weeks, you're still going to have the garbage problem, and then we'll be out of there.
Right.
I would agree with any panelist that would not vote for this, only out of the history of bad faith.
Yeah, I think what, thank you, Twee. I think what Christine was talking about and what Frank was describing is the history, the operations of this applicant in other sites, regardless if it's closing tomorrow or it's going to be open for another 5 years. It's the history, the experience of the community with this operator. And I'm not in that neighborhood, I'm much further south, and I don't usually walk up there. But for me, hearing this experience is grave concern about the ability of this operator, or not the ability, the sincerity of this operator to fulfill any stipulations that we would want to include, or any kind of agreement that we come to. To me, seems like the operator makes an agreement, and that's just to get off and gone with, and then goes its own way.
Motion to
my
deny.
Hold on one second. We haven't had a chance to respond to anything. Steve,
Max, why don't you wait a second?
Still have two more community board
Two
people,
other committee.
Terry and Jesse.
I was just raising my hand to make sure that we had an opportunity to hear from the applicant, obviously, but also to just, echo the messaging from this committee, which is, we don't really have any carrots or sticks when it comes to enforcement of the stipulations that we agreed to. And so the only thing we really can do is penalize someone who comes before us for another liquor license when we know that you've been operating in bad faith. And so that's sort of why we take this approach. And we are very cognizant of reports, especially years and years of history of negative response and negative reaction from the community. And so you definitely have a high bar before you address us. Just know you definitely have a high bar to surpass.
Yeah,
Carrie.
just on a vocabulary issue, we wouldn't be penalizing him because of his bad behavior. The concern would be because of what has been going on at the other establishments, we would have concerns about recommending approval of another major liquor license with stipulations that we are lacking trust and confidence that they would be followed.
Carrie?
It's more sort of using the past history as a guide to what could happen at the next place.
Right, it's risk management.
Okay. Carrie,
So
and I'm pushing you, Carrie, because I know you have
Okay.
to be at
That's
7:30
thank you. I appreciate
for a
it.
parent-teacher meeting.
Yeah. So thank you. So from what you've heard, I'm wondering if the applicant would be willing to replant the trees that you cut down, and then you can come back to us as a
What do
a
trees?
symbol of,
Hold on,
excuse
Steve,
me, I'm
please.
going to finish.
Steve,
No, I'm going
hold
to
on,
finish
please.
first, as a symbol of good faith, so that we can move forward believing that you will actually, adhere to the stipulations that we would ask you to adhere to for this particular liquor license.
Okay, is there anybody, other committee member that wants to speak? Okay, Max?
all right,
And
I'm going to let
Steve?
Steve briefly address the issue of the trees, and then I just want to make a suggestion before you move on to vote. So Steve, go ahead on the trees.
The trees were removed by authority from New York City. Parks Department, filed by an architect, done the proper way. They were not done maliciously. I opened a business in the middle of the pandemic, and all I've gotten is complaints from the members of this board, but I don't have members of the community coming and knocking on my door and complaining. As far as the trees are concerned, there's trees at the new location. Many times the 2 trees that I removed are there. I don't intend to touch them. I thought tonight's meeting was in regards to that, not the trees that were legally removed, approved, and I paid $9,000 to have other trees planted elsewhere in the city. I believe this board is familiar with the process. I'm not a cowboy. I didn't cut down the trees as is being alleged. I did it by the authority of the government, the state.
All right, so I'm gonna make a suggestion, and this format, unlike the old days where I used to be able to whisper things to my client, is difficult. So Steve, I'm gonna say something, and you can decide what you want to do here. These folks are set to disapprove you tonight. We can either proceed with their disapproval tonight and go to the liquor authority, or we can put this over a month to see if there's a way to come back with a plan that rebuilds trust with them. It's your decision.
I'd just like to say too, that the trees actually came to my attention from a letter from a community member. So it's wrong to say that the community hasn't spoken up. They have.
Okay, but I'm telling you, the trees were removed legally. It was approved. It was
Sir,
required.
as
Steve,
you
would you like to
know,
respond to what your lawyer has suggested?
My response to the lawyer, what the lawyer suggested is, I don't know what the other woman that said denied before it was time to say denied, but it sounds like this board is malicious in their intent, and I won't have.
We don't really like to be accused malicious. That I don't think is appropriate for our conversation.
I choose
We are
my.
fulfilling our obligations
It is
and our
malicious.
responsibilities.
And when a businessman opens in a neighborhood that's full of crack addicts, and I can send you pictures of what I have to deal with, and instead of thanking me for cleaning up the neighborhood, bringing some life to your neighborhood, I'm being attacked for being a tree killer. And the garbage
To
out,
deny.
and the
Steve,
garbage
the
that I put
description
out
of your
no
operation.
more or no less than the hotel across the street or the apartment building next door.
Okay, the description of your operation included more than the destruction of the trees.
Correct. Motion to deny.
wait a second, let's
Thank
see,
you.
Go
Got
ahead,
that,
Frank.
Max, can you tell, is your client declining to postpone?
I don't think we're putting this over. I don't think we're putting this over. You're gonna have to go ahead and vote.
I'm declining.
Okay,
Jesse, is your hand up or is that just a leftover?
It is only, I mean, one, just to briefly respond, I just want to, on defense of this committee, I think we go out of our way to support small business, and we obviously want to see restaurants opening up and storefronts being filled. Nobody wants empty streets either. But I also just wanted to give you the opportunity to address the allegations regarding trash, if you want to speak on that before we vote. That's all. I'm trying to give you the opportunity to speak.
Sure, my opportunity. Thank you. I'm next to a residential building on 38th Street for 15 years, a business that employed pre-pandemic 240 people, that currently employs 60 people. If the alleged garbage that's overflowing and filling into the streets isn't being complained about by the 300 residents next door to me, by the Arlo Hotel directly across the street, nobody has knocked on my door to complain about the garbage. Who are these people to tell me your garbage for the last 15 years? Really? My business is at 20% of its previous levels, and you're telling me my garbage is still an issue on 38th Street and 9th Avenue? Give me a break.
May I respond to that? So first of all, Mr. Tenodius, I am in fact your neighbor, and I am on the board of my building, and I have proceeded to notify.
Hold on, Steve, please, one at a time.
Are you going to, you can't bully everybody, right? So let me finish.
I'm being bullied. I'm not bullying.
Yeah, right.
Steve, please.
So this problem of garbage has been going on. It has been reported to the Quality of Life Committee 10 years ago, and it was raised in front, and I have been raising that with your with your Metro Kitchen staff, and I have even emails from you from 5 years ago. So don't tell me you don't know about it, and don't tell me. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Okay, so this alleged problem is real. I will send pictures to all of the committee members that I have taken day after day after day. And it has been well before the Arlo Hotel, and the Arlo Hotel has a problem also with the garbage, but this has been really an issue. So I just want to say that this is an objective statement.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to deny.
Second.
All those in favor? All those against? Present not eligible? Those abstaining? Okay.
wait, did we hear from Mike and
Mike, are you there?
Mike is hiding.
Okay.
Mike is absent from his mic.
Okay. All right. So was it unanimous except for Mike?
I think so. That was my visual.
Okay.
And we'll send our recommendation to the full board and see what happens at the full board.
Right. And Max, as your client can speak for 2 minutes at the full board meeting.
Understood.
And any supporters you have can speak for 2 minutes in the public session.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you. Okay, moving along to number 5 has been postponed. And number 6, 344 West 52nd Street, Toscana, Via Toscana.
Yes. Good evening. My name is John Springer. I am the representative on the call is Andrea Dellapina. He's the owner. He has restaurant management in Brooklyn. This is his first. 340 West 52nd Street was, I think, a Swiss restaurant called Mont Bryant 2. They closed last year as a result of the pandemic. I have 48 seats plus 12 at the bar, plus staff is a maximum occupancy of 65 people. There are no outside areas. We submitted amendments after meeting with the Block Association Alliance. Recorded background music only, no outside areas, mixing, no live music, no DJ, no promoters. None of those things. We're asking for noon to 2 a.m. Daily, which the Alliance recommends approval. We're going to have 6 to 8 days a year that we might close for like a wedding or a birthday party or a corporate event, but no promoted events. And we're here to answer any questions you have. It's Italian fare. It's upper end. It's we have a substantial menu with decent prices. It's not a discount place. It's not a happy hour place. It's not going to be a bar. And we're here to answer any questions you have.
Yeah.
Okay, just one more thing. I just want to say something, Frank.
Okay.
Somebody, could everybody mute who is not speaking, please? Because we're hearing external noise. Thank you.
John, is there noise in the background where you are?
It's not me.
Okay.
What? Andrea,
yes.
Put yourself on mute if you put yourself on mute, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot you had your client on with you as well. John, we had 2 stipulations back in 2016 with the prior operator, which leads me to believe these were issues. I wanted to see if you'd agree to them again. One, that no outdoor space will be used or occupied by patrons or staff at any time. Are you okay with that?
That's correct.
Okay, and then the other, not to go back to garbage, but we had a stipulation saying that the bulk of the garbage will be placed outside no later than midnight. I don't even remember the history of that or if that's what we'd want now. Christine, do you recall, or it hasn't come up in connection with this application? All right, I'd be inclined to leave that one off.
I don't know when garbage pickup.
Yeah, so no one is asking.
I don't know when garbage pickup is.
Yeah, no, I will leave that off. Clearly, some community members had issues back then, but I don't want to lock you into something infeasible.
Oh, maybe that was the garbage being put out in the backyard and people making noise when they were doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Could be. So as John said, they did meet with the HK Neighborhood Alliance and clarified their method of operation, which made it much more palatable to the Block Association. The head of that association reported that some of the most nearby neighbors, had concerns with any kind of licensed establishment in this place, but Steve explained to them that they are better off, getting a sort of respectable restaurant than some of the options are. So I don't know if we'll heal for anyone, but Steve, the head of the association, is in support of this.
Okay. Any questions for Inga? I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I just want to say, obviously there was an issue with the trash, and if they're saying put it out, don't put it out after midnight, we don't know what your trash situation is, but just make sure that the staff is mindful to be somewhat quiet when they're putting out, because that seems to be what the problem is when they're chucking bags and laughing and joking at, 1 a.m, you're waking people up. So if they could just be mindful of that, whatever time they put the trash out.
Thank you. Tina?
Sorry, I'm looking at a little,
Yeah.
this is, I'm looking at this email about 344 West 52nd. And there are other mentions made about no outside areas, no dancing, no DJ, no karaoke. Is everything in that email being adopted into the stipulation?
Frank, you're on mute.
No, this is one.
Yeah,
One
they
in my
revised, hold
Yeah,
on, John, let me answer this. They revised.
The very relaxed about it.
They revised the STIP form since that meeting. So the STIP form, as you'll see, only has background music. There's no DJ, no live music. They're stipulating there's no outdoor space. So this form was revised and resubmitted after they met with the Block Association.
Okay, so storm enclosures and A-frames are all resolved, I assume.
Right. They said no storm enclosure, no cluttering on the sidewalk. Yes, they answered our usual questions appropriately.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Anybody else from the committee? From the public, Nellie?
There's no one with a raised hand.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mike, welcome back. All those opposed? All those present not eligible? Those abstaining? Okay, thank you. Now we're moving on to our third grouping. These are existent establishments changing their method of operation. Okay, we have number 7512 West 42nd Street. They want to add 2 customer bars, okay, and increase the closing hours to 4 a.m. daily.
Right. And they appeared before us last month. There was significant concern about extending the closing hours. And the applicant agreed to come back this week or to adjourn while they decided if they were going to pursue the longer hours. I believe we told them we'd have no objection to the alterations to the physical premises.
Okay, is the applicant's attorney here, the applicant?
I don't see Rosa. I don't know who's on the phone. Who's on the phone at the phone ending 799? Who's that?
That was John's. Oh,
No, John.
John Springer's off. Yes. Could a 799 identify yourself, please?
That's Joseph Pally from Gadfly Bar.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Nellie, I guess we weren't sure. Nellie couldn't reach Rosa to confirm whether they were coming back or not. So I guess they're not here, Nellie?
No,
Okay.
they're not here.
Okay. Okay, we're moving on to number 8.
Just to be clear, so Nellie, clarify what happened, whether they want to come back, whether they want, how we're treating this, or are we sending a denial letter because they didn't appear?
The committee needs to make a recommendation because they
Okay.
only postponed to this meeting. So technically they can apply to the State Liquor Authority tomorrow, start effectively tomorrow. So
Okay.
the committee needs to make a recommendation.
Okay, I believe the
What you want to do.
consensus at the last meeting was that we did not have problems with the physical alteration, but did with the extended closing hours because of, the horrible history of this location.
Been a very problematic location.
Yeah, as our fellow board member, Joe Restuccia, who owns and manages the building next door, reported that the hours between 2 and 4 a.m. Became, under prior operators, became very problematic. And he and the manager of another residential building that abuts this were very opposed to longer hours. So I can't make a motion, but I guess the motion would be, if people agree with me, is that we recommend, if they won't come back, if they're ready to go forward, we recommend disapproval of the longer hours, but approval of the addition of a bar.
Yeah,
Or the changes to the premises.
Whatever we recommend, I would want that language that you have inserted, Frank.
Yeah.
Contingent upon them not appearing again with us, or, because we have to hear from them.
Right, but Jesse, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm comfortable voting on something like that without having them present. We can't make a motion to adjourn until they're here? That's not possible?
No, Nellie's concern is that they can now go forward with the SLA. And that we have to take some position today, unless Nellie's been trying to reach them for weeks and has not been able to find out if they're coming back tonight, which does raise some concerns. So what we don't want is them to go forward with the SLA with no position from the community board. Last month, it was very clear that if they wanted to push forward on the later hours, they had to come back either this month or next month. Before we do anything, Nellie will see if they will agree to, come next month and adjourn in the interim. But if they don't do that, I think we need to do something to protect our position.
Okay, Carrie and then Inga.
I mean, can we not make a motion to deny, since the fact that they're not here is sort of Inga's shaking her head no, is sort of a indication of what they might be like as an owner, an operator?
Well, let's hear from Inga.
And then Nellie has her hand up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna make a motion based on Frank's statement. Yes, we should deny, but we have more leverage if we make the motion to approve their bars, which we have no problem with, and no one at the last meeting did, even the outside attendees. It's really the later hours that we're opposing. So motion to deny the extended hours, but we also accept the motion to approve the inside alterations. So
And Carrie, I'm honestly not.
If we do nothing or deny outright, they can go ahead and, again, we have no voice, so we have to have some voice. If we don't deny, we have no voice, and if we deny outright, we have no voice. So this is our greatest leverage, as
So
Frank will let you know.
Can you
Carrie,
just remind us what the hours are then, that we're?
that the current hours are 4 a.m. on
weekends.
On weekends, on Friday and Saturday, and 1 a.m. on the other nights of the week. And the change they wanted was to go at 4 a.m.
across the board.
Yeah.
Too many residents.
Yeah, and Carrie, I'm not sure I would blame the applicant here. I think there's just been some difficulty communicating with the office and the representative. So I'm not sure this is the applicant's fault. So I would like to give Nellie one more shot to try to iron this out. But we do need a backup vote. But Nellie has something to say.
Did you have your hand up, Nellie? Did you want to say something?
I did. I mean, there's you can also put a motion to deny based off of not having enough information because the applicant did not appear as they said they would tonight. If you wanted, but it's totally up.
I think the motion is we are concerned about, we're okay with the bar. We're
Correct.
concerned about the later hours and gave the applicant an opportunity to, if they wanted to meet with the community or come back to further defend the hours, and they didn't come back. So our concerns about the extended hours remain. I think that's the way I would phrase it.
Yes, and you have to have it before the full board.
Okay. Ted just raised his hand.
So they, what was I gonna say? So basically, there was not really too much input from the community with the extended hours, or there were.
At the last meeting, yes, there was.
There was.
From Joe speaking on behalf of his entire building, and I believe he was speaking for the other building as well. But a bunch of us went to the SLA when the prior operator was trying to open the Playboy Club and the Cachet Hotel. And I vividly recall the litany of horrors that was recited there about, you know, what goes on between 2 and 4 a.m. if this space is licensed during those hours.
I kind of like, you know, what Ingrid said. Maybe we can approve with 2 a.m. and then 4 a.m. on weekends and just give them an extra hour. I would like.
I don't think Ingrid was proposing that, was she?
No.
Well, I mean, she was saying that the hours didn't, the earlier, it was just the weekend hours that they already have. I mean, if you think that it was just a misunderstanding with the people, and a lot of the other applications and the people in the neighborhood have at 2 a.m. As a, you know.
But they're not as big. Part of this problem, Ted, is the capacity of this place.
There are almost 700 people.
Which is bigger than anything else in the neighborhood. I don't know. I am uncomfortable about suggesting something. We don't know if the applicant were here and would agree to it, that would be a different story.
Mhm.
There's nobody here.
Yeah.
So,
So I would second Inga's motion.
okay.
So we approve the
The
changes,
current
not
hours.
the hours.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, I would like to second that motion.
Okay.
So would you repeat that, Inga, again, please?
Yes, the motion should be deny the extended hours till 4 a.m. during the week and approve the interior changes, which is the additional bars.
And
The
there's
horseshoe
the
bar.
recognition that they did not appear at the meeting.
And that they did not come back to us.
Provided that they don't have an explanation and still want to come back next month and appropriate
Correct.
year and everything, then we'll let them come back.
Right. Is there a second to that? Did
Yeah,
you
there
say-
was.
Ted, you seconded it. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Present not eligible, abstaining. Okay. Number 8, 176 8th Avenue. This, they would like to have in their basement live music.
Okay. And
This is Martin Mailer. I'm the attorney. I believe you just said it was from MLH. I'm having a great deal of trouble staying online. I don't know why. I'm in my son's house. In fact, I'm missing my grandson's birthday, but that's neither here nor there for the moment. So we're on. I hope you can hear me. My client, I believe, is also on. And the reason we're here tonight was because you asked us to go and get a sound reading of the premises when we cranked it way up. And I apologize for the late report, but we had difficulty getting an acoustical engineer in the place, and we finally did. It's Acoustalog. I think this committee is well aware of the reputation of Acoustalog. And if you look at the report that he submitted, I believe we have complied, or at least if we have this jazz band occasionally, it will not disturb the health, welfare, or repose of any of the people in the area. And I would hope that you would allow the licensee to add a jazz band component in the basement.
Okay. Martin, the other reason we adjourned is we had a letter from the one of the 18th and 19th Street Block Association saying, you know, that they didn't have an opportunity to meet with your client before the last meeting. And I think one of the things we adjourned about was you were going to try to reach out to them and see what they wanted to meet. Do you know if that happened? We haven't heard it anymore.
I'll let Matthias expand on this, but I understand he went back and emailed everyone again. And Matthias, did you get any response from anyone?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we were going to, because the report was coming late, we were going to adjourn to next month. One of my partners forced that engineer to come in and do the report right before the meeting of today. I did get one response from one block association, and I, at the time, responded that we're going to respond to next month. But I mean, I can answer any questions. I mean, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Wait, so
That was the question.
Did you tell the Block Association you were postponing from tonight?
I told one email that sent back to me that I will postpone till next month, yes. But I did not know we were on until yesterday.
Yeah, well, that's sort of problematic now because I don't think anyone is here now from the Block Association because they thought you were going to postpone. Nellie, I don't see any hands raised from the community, right? Oh, Twee has her hand up.
Yes.
I don't know if she's a couple people. Well, one of them is a resident, but let's deal with the timing issue here. Are you willing to postpone another month, sir?
I mean, I'd rather go on with it today if possible. If there's no option, I mean, obviously we'll comply with anything you guys want.
Which Block Association are you referring to?
Myself, yeah, I have to check my emails.
Yeah, and I will say, I think we got the sound report at like 4 o'clock or 4:30 today. By the time it got out to the committee, I managed to read it, but I'm not sure how many of the committee members did. It's, you know, as you noted, it was quite late.
Yeah.
No, we apologize for that. It's just that it came in late.
No, I understand. Yeah. Well, let's see.
So you read the report and
I did.
Okay.
No, I am encouraged by the report, but
okay.
I am concerned that we knew that some of the community members wanted to meet with you, and through no fault of anybody's, that doesn't seem to have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Christine and Tina, are you on this sort of notice issue or the substance?
Notice. On the notice issue, I'm uncomfortable.
So you think they should wait another month as well?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, with the quote unquote official communication between the applicant and one of the neighbors saying we will table, I think that's what we have to do. Yeah. It's they have said we are going to table, and now we cannot just make a decision.
But Matthias, no blame to you. I understand this was all last minute, but I think the committee's uncomfortable going forward, given the sort of record we have right now. So do you mind coming back next month?
Can we still let the public speak?
And wait, and one more thing I want to, between now and then, besides what I asked specifically what Block Association, because
yeah, I'm checking my emails right now.
It was the 19th Street Block.
I think Twee might speak to that.
So we want to make sure you contact and be with them.
Of course.
Okay.
Not just send out an email, but follow up with it.
Nellie, why don't you move Twee over, but let's try to keep comments to the sort of timing and, notice issues and things, and not get into the substance again.
Right.
Because we're going to have to do that next month.
Matthias, this is Martin Miller speaking again. I think given the tone of the committee, I believe it's in everyone's best interest to put it over, since in a sense you did tell some of the public that it would not go forward this morning.
Yeah, one person, yeah.
Twee, do you know anything about any of the block associations or anything?
I wasn't going to speak to that, and I wasn't going to say anything substantive based on what people say, but I did want to say on the flip side, I did prepare to speak, and in talking about having YouTube in perpetuity, I did go back to the January 2022 meeting where I was a committee member, and for anyone interested, the discussion started at the 22-minute mark and lasted an hour. Last month, I also checked that as well. That started at the 50-minute mark, 26 seconds, and that lasted only about 8 minutes because it was held over for today. So I'm not going to speak substantively, but for having prepared for this, I'm a little disappointed, but I'll wait another month.
Okay. Well, it's in the intro. I mean, this is not being driven by the applicant. This is being driven by our desire to protect, your fellow community members to have an opportunity to be heard. So I hope you understand.
Understood. Thank you.
And in terms of substance, we have now an acoustical report, which we did not have previously.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next month.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Last item on our agenda is 258 West 15th Street, the Gadfly Lounge, which is asking for a change in hours. Currently, it's open during the week to 11. It'd like to be open during the week to 12. And currently Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it's open to 12, and it would like to be open to 2. Sunday, it's open to 11, and it wants to be open to 12 again. Yes. Change in hours of operation. Do we
Hello,
have
everybody.
Attorney?
Hi. Yeah, this is
Okay.
Kara Pally. I'm the owner along with my husband, Joe. Joe's working at the bar tonight, but he's called in. He's on the phone, on, audio only. So he'd love to speak as well. So thank you guys so much for meeting with us tonight. We're proud to be here, not just for ourselves, but also to give a voice to the 468 people who signed our petition in support of our later hours for Gadfly Bar. So I just wanted to highlight super quick some of the people who are represented here today. You guys received, I believe, 26 letters sent directly to CB4, but 18 of those were from West 15th Street, our block. 7 of them came from our building, 258 West 15th Street. And we've also been collecting petition signatures for maybe 6 weeks. It hasn't been very long, but we've had 468 total petition signers. But what really matters is the 300, more than 300 that live in CB4's district. We have more than 135 that live on West 15th Street that are in support of this. 14 people from our building, another 8 people from across the street at the building across the street. So I'll hand it off to Joe. I don't want to talk for too long, but I just basically wanted to give all the neighbors who would love Gadfly Bar to open later a voice in this meeting.
Joe?
Joe, you're on mute.
I just chatted him real quick. Sorry, guys.
He's serving a drink.
Well, let me just summarize things for the committee while we wait for Joe. Kara, thanks. You did all my number summarizing for me. Her numbers were accurate about the number of letters we got, the petitions, and the location of people, including in this building. I hope the committee has a chance to read some or all of the letters for and against, but the chief points to me seem to be that, and this actually came through in some of the opposing letters too, that these are community spirited, good operators. I didn't get a sense that almost anyone had problems with the operation of the bar. We'll get into the concerns, but I think everyone thought they were very community spirited, but that came through in spades in the supporting letters. A lot of people said they felt this establishment made the block safer. And we even heard from people, someone who said their apartment has outdoor space across the street that directly faces Gadfly, and that they were not bothered in their outdoor space by anything that was happening at Gadfly. In opposition, we had a letter of opposition from the 17th to 18th Street Block Association and from 13 individuals, which were basically, the concerns seem to be ones we're familiar with. It's things happening outside the bar. It's when people leave, are they making noise? Are they saying goodbye to their friends? Is that happening? But I guess there are two specific things came up that I'd like to ask Karen and Joe about. One is that some people said, I guess you have doors that can open out to the outside and the front. And
We have, there's sort of like
Kara,
French...
I'm on too.
hey.
I'm happy to.
Okay,
let's
so the two
go ahead and
issues,
finish
one of
these
you
and
can
then
address
yeah.
these. One of them is that when you leave those doors open, the noise spilling out into the street gets worse because, well, first of all, they're supposed to be closed if there's any music playing, and maybe they are. I'm not saying that isn't true, but whether when they're open, whether it makes the street noisier, particularly late at night. And then second, that you installed some kind of neon sign that isn't allowed by the zoning. Only one person.
Okay, so I'm happy to log to
Go
jump in.
ahead, Joe.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry about that. My phone was unmuted, but not according to the call in. So I'm happy to be back to you. What I started by saying was just it's nice to be back with you guys as a neighbor and an operator now. And thank you for having us. So before I go into just the quick points I was planning to make, let me just answer those two questions. So as far as the doors, that was expressed concern about the old existing accordion doors, which are still there, which we have never in our operation opened more than one single door. And rarely even after sundown. And so I'm surprised. I believe I would have to guess that any concerns about that might be thinking again about the previous operator and issues they had, and maybe concerns that if we're granted later hours, that would be a concern, which it shouldn't be. We've not had any issues. We've not had any noise complaints. Acoustalog did a magnificent job of guiding us, and I think that speaks for itself with the overwhelming support we've gotten from the building.
Joe, not to interrupt you, but just to stay on this
Sure.
issue. What was written to us was there are two main sources of the noise. Glass wall partitions at the sidewalk are sometimes open with patrons seated immediately inside, so their conversations, loud and animated, ring out. Is that the petition you're talking about, or is that something else?
That could only be about the single door opening at the accordion door. I don't know what that feedback is.
And we mute who is not muted.
Mr. Palillo, I think Mr. Palillo,
Yeah, that was Frank.
Okay.
So Joe, you're saying you don't open these doors?
One thing we have when it was warm out, or we have opened one single door, which is about 20 inches wide, and I've actually been super diligent about it, and I've listened for the noise levels.
Okay, and you close it at a reasonable hour?
Absolutely, 100%. That said, if it is something that is a sticking point, I will even, I would go beyond it. Honestly, where that will not.
Let's see if anyone else mentions it. It was just one of the few specifics that came up in the opposing letters. So I wanted to ask about it and the neon sign.
The
Sure.
neon
So the
sign.
time.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Karen.
Then we don't have a neon sign any longer. We did have a complaint with it. It's been taken down, so that's no longer an issue. There's no open violations or anything like that.
Okay, thank you. Joe, sorry to interrupt your presentation. Go ahead.
Yep, thank you. I promise to be quick. The other just a couple points I want to make was about the lack. None of those issues have been raised directly with us. I honestly wish they would be. We have reached out to the community, to all the block associations in the area, including the most immediate one, and we would love to have a rapport with them and to have them in and to address any issues directly. And the thing I'm most pleased about is that we are truly a neighborhood spot, that the vast majority of our customers are people who live either on the block or within a couple of blocks, and have said exactly what you were reading in the letters, that we've made the block safer, that honestly having a couple hours later would make this a spot where people on the block can stop on their way home rather than and be closer to home base, and really a right spot, and figure right spot. Humbles us and just pleases us to know that that's the case. And so we just hope that you'll, please take that into consideration. And any issues that anybody ever, if it does come up, I'm there almost every hour that we're open, and I'm always, happy to discuss anything and to address anything and solve it, as immediately as possible.
Right. And that did come through in the supporting letters, that a lot of people did say, it really is their neighborhood spot and they feel very comfortable there. The one thing I did mention in the opposing letters, and this is in the Block Association letter as well, was their concern. I guess you've only been open 9 months, and so there is some concern that, that is not an adequate track record, or that, you opened with the 11 and 12 hours and are now coming back too soon, and somehow that, this sort of for that area. Yeah. Not quite a bait and switch, but that you got open with the shorter hours and now right away coming back for longer hours. So those are.
So I would just.
I'm
would
not,
just
I'm
say to
just saying
that-
that's the theme in the opposing letters for anyone who hasn't had a chance
So-
to read.
How about this? Can I, in interest of saving your guys' time, like if the community board would like to hear me, the committee, address that, I'd be happy to.
Well, Joe, why don't you wait a bunch of,
Yeah, we have-
from the committee and the public, and then we'll let you address everything at the end.
We have.
Let me speak too, huh?
And wait, Frank.
And Frank. Frank, why don't you go next?
I
And
see you
then-
Hey,
have your
Bert, how
hand
are
up,
you?
Frank. Okay. We have 4 committee members who have their hands up. So I'd like to start, I saw Jesse first, then Inga, Christine. And there was a 4th I lost. Was it Tina?
Oh, that was Frank.
Okay, Jesse.
Great. Thank you very much, Kara Joseph. Thank you for coming back and appearing here. You know, the letters in support. Thank you for, you know, reaching out to your neighbors and trying to collect those. I think that's really helpful to read those. It really does seem like you come off as good neighbors, or attempting to be good neighbors, certainly as you do here tonight. I am wondering, you know, because of the residential nature of the block, and I'm used to seeing when there are bars on quiet streets, typically or oftentimes people will hire security to stand out front to disperse people when they're leaving, so that there are no groups of people who are standing and making noise on the street. I'm wondering if you would be amenable to that, to hiring someone literally when the door is closed and to make sure to disperse people as soon as they step out, and you know, someone to work sort of the front of house, basically.
Okay, Inga.
So fortunately,
Wait,
we
wait,
did.
Joe, can you hold on until
Yes,
the committee
okay.
people? There may be other questions you
Okay,
want
I'm
to
sorry.
answer, so rather
Sure.
going back and forth, we can do one group and then the other.
Got it.
Inga?
I just have, I was not sure, the West 15th Street Block Association has some concerns, and those are valid concerns. Basically the 9 months, and they're not sure. Yes, it's a popular space. Have you met with the 15th Street Block Association at all?
We've reached out to them on numerous occasions. They've never responded or met with us or come to any of the invitations we've sent.
Christine?
Okay. Yeah, I have received the letter directly from one of the residents, and the specific item, and I'm more thinking of problem resolution here, is that when the sliding doors are open in the summer, there are some noise, and especially when you have a dedicated theme night where all the patrons are chanting at the same time. So that's very specific as an example. And I want to hear, you know, what you can do about that.
I'm not sure we've ever had anybody all chanting at the same time. We don't actually play any sports in our bars, so we don't even have sports on the TV. People request it all the time, and we're like, sorry, we're trying to go for like a different vibe. So I'm not sure about the chanting. Our door, like Joe said, we're open to trying, if that's like the sticking point. We're not like, you know, whatever, we'd love to hear your suggestions on what we could do to accommodate that. It actually doesn't even open all the way. It's like a 4-panel door, but it's not possible to even open it all the way if we wanted. So like Joe said, it's only ever open about 20 inches at a time. We close it. You know, Joe's always walking out to the sidewalk to hear the noise level and closing it if it's too loud. We really only open it if people request, you know, some additional ventilation after COVID and all that.
But you know, I mean, that door should be closed.
We can keep the door closed. Like I said, we really only.
It should be absolutely closed. That's the solution. The door should be closed. It
Waiting
shouldn't
for
be
a
open 20 inch or whatever. It should be completely closed. And the additional ventilation should be done through air conditioning or whatever. And not.
Yeah, we have that as well. It's usually just by like a customer request. But like I said, we don't want this, you know, door to be the sticking point that affects this. So we're open to, you know, talking about it more, or if there's, you know, if the issue is just, you know, to keep it closed all the time.
I think you need to talk about it now and say, yes, we're going to close it. That's what I'm asking you.
If we need to keep the door closed all the time, then sure, we can do that.
Okay, that would be helpful, because I think that's
Maybe a stipulation going forward.
Yes.
Inga?
Sorry, I didn't get to finish before. The other
sorry.
thing I wanted to say, you know, with regard to, this is a side street. It's a residential side street, so I would throw caution out there for opening later. It is a residential side street. It's not an avenue.
Okay.
But what do you mean, Inga? What's your position?
I don't think they should be that open that late on the weeknights on a residential street. People live there, it's a residential street. It's not an avenue, no matter how popular they are in the neighborhood. I mean, I'm over here on 23rd. I may go there every night and woohoo. I don't live and sleep there. Would I want that under me until 2 in.the morning on a work night? Not
Well, just to
really.
clarify, we're only asking to stay open until midnight on weekdays, and we do have support from over 135 people that are on West 15th Street that support being open till just midnight on weekdays, and then 2 a.m. would just be on weekends.
It's still a residential area. I don't know.
So I'm going to wait until my turn to jump in because I was asked to wait for all the questions.
Yeah, Frank, did you want to say something? You had your hand up before.
No, I just wanted to make sure you knew I was here. I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
Bert, we have 2 community members with their hands up. Do you want to hear from them first?
Absolutely. Well, we have Ted first here.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see him.
I just wanted to point out that it said 2 a.m. closing on Thursdays on the application that I saw, so that wouldn't really fit. If weekends would be Friday, Saturday night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, their application, Ted, is correct. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 2 a.m. That's what they're requesting.
Right.
Nellie, the 2 members of the public community?
The first person I have is Paul. And the next person is Jill.
Okay, Paul, welcome. If you could unmute and say hello.
Oh, hi. Great. Well, thank you for having me on. I'd like to say I live on the block where the Gadfly is. I've never joined a community board meeting before, in spite of the fact that I've lived in Chelsea for 21 years. And every day when I pass Gadfly, it is completely quiet. It's so quiet that you would almost wonder if it's even open. And I have no relationship with either of the owners. I've been in the bar 2 times, and I've spent less than $20 there since the day they opened. I doubt they recognize me, but they are really good neighbors. And if we can't find a way to allow them to operate when they've been such good members of the community, then effectively, I think we're setting our bar to infinity. So I'm strongly in support of them, in spite of the fact that I'm not even a customer.
Thanks for coming by, Paul. We especially appreciate it when people come to support things, because it's very easy when you have concerns to sit through these meetings, but to sit through them, to have good things requires more stamina. So.
And no joke, this is my first community board meeting.
Yeah. Well, and I hope it won't be your last.
21, yeah, hope you come back. Was 21 years in Chelsea? You need to come back again. Okay.
Come to a full board meeting. It covers more of the universe of issues.
Well, I live on this block, so I'm just focused on this block. I don't know.
Okay.
Thank you for speaking up. That helps.
Okay.
Jill?
I'm gonna have it right now.
Hi, thanks for having me. I can't see you on video for some reason, but I wanted to say I'm one of the people that objected. We are right across the street. When you say 135 people from the block have agreed or have supported it, the block is long there, and there are a lot of properties that don't face the street that will not be impacted, but we are literally looking right into it. I did write my letter. I think they're being great neighbors. I still think 2 a.m. is pretty late I work on weekends. I wrote that in my letter. But what I wanted to say is the idea of them not being able to open the doors like in early evening is ridiculous. They should be able to open those windows. A little bit of noise isn't going to kill anyone. It's just after 9, 10 o'clock, maybe they could close them, which I think they're doing. But even though I'm objecting to the later hours, I wanted to support them on the open window thing. Thank you.
Next, we have Twee.
Thank you, Jill, and especially for your sort of measured comments.
No problem. All right, thanks.
Twee.
Okay, I just got activated. So I also received an email from the West 15th Street Block Association and about the concern that Inga had raised before. But I find it, I don't know if curious is the right word, that neither co-president or officer from the Block Association is here to discuss their concerns. The other comment I would have is, while the numbers seem large and accurate to the prior speaker's point, I mean, if New York City is all about the data, how many, like, what is the percentage of residents does that represent? Like, is 135 out of 800 residents versus 135 out of 200 residents? And particularly in terms of buildings across, buildings next door, you know, talking about, I guess, what do you say? The periphery, like concentric circles, I'm not sure what the right word is. The radius, I guess. So if that would put it in perspective for me in terms of those numbers.
I guess I would just ask, are we comparing those numbers to the general population or to the opposition?
No, just the
for
block.
this particular request?
Just the block.
Remind me that Joe
Yeah,
is
to
still
me-
on the line.
I think,
They
Frank,
submitted,
you get,
Frank is going to take that.
the letters that I looked at, and Frank, you looked at them as well, and other people on the committee. We had letters from people at the far end of the block, I would say, at the, you know, at the 7th Avenue end, but we had also letters of approval of people right across the street, and people right in the building, and people opposed right across the street and right in the building. And for me,
But my point is,
wait, tweet, I'm just gonna finish. It just is, I don't quite know how to measure it, and I don't think I want to measure. Well, they got 27 here, 34 over there, 2 over here. I just read the letters, and some of them opposed and some of them for, all said the same thing about the goodness and of the operators, how it adds to the safety of the block. Opposed or not for the extension of the hours, they actually all said the same thing in many instances, which just is difficult to come to a conclusion from that. It wasn't like you had all these on one side saying one thing and all these on the other side saying something completely different. This is not the case.
Right.
Okay.
I was just
Yes,
speaking-
okay, I'm sorry, Tweet.
I was just speaking. I mean, I won't make this a back and forth. I'll mute after this. It's just in terms of in 2022 and when I was on the community NYC.data or whatever, and if we have someone who's going to bring 600 numbers and 135 numbers, my perspective would have been, what's the concentration? Is the concentration mostly approved, not approved? Are they equal in the same building? Like that type of, and then you go outward. If it's on each end, they like it because at each end, they like the, you know, they can center towards this place. I'm just thinking about that in terms of.
I can share my Google map that I made with, with you that lays them all out.
Yeah, Twee, the applicant, and again, as you remember from your time on the board, we make clear that this is not a popularity contest. We don't say, you know, you got 25 against and 13 for, and therefore it's hearing the issues raised and looking for themes through the issues and trying to work them out. But that said, Gadfly did submit a chart that shows that, you know, 14 people in the building itself supported them, 8 in the building across the street supported them, and 135 people on West 15th Street supported them. Now, is that a majority or even, you know, 10 or 20%? I doubt it. But against that, you know, we have opposition from the, you know, 16th and 17th Street Block Association and, you know, I think 13 other people. So again, it's not really popularity, but people had the opportunity to weigh in one way or the other, and many did.
Okay.
I think you made a really great point before too about getting somebody, like people actually in affirmatively speaking out, whether it's signing a petition or sending a letter or calling in. I do believe speaks a lot, and not as a popularity contest, but just as, you know, it has some weight to it, I would hope, and actually serious issues.
Okay.
I hope it seems like
Jesse
it's
and
not.
Ted.
Yeah, Joe, we got some more committee comments, so we'll let you wrap up when we're done with the people want to.
Wait, I'm sorry. We have one more member of the public wanting to speak.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Carrie?
Oh, I hope you can hear me.
You can hear you now, Carrie.
I live at 58 West 15th, actually on the first floor, and can't speak to the noise across the street, but I'll say I've never been bothered by any noise in our apartment. I have 2 roommates, and we find that a place to be. Also echo that it enhances the safety of the block. And so, yeah, so to hope that would help the committee. I mean, we live,
Sorry, I didn't hear. Where do you live? Do you
we live
in-
above Gadfly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Carrie. Jesse, Ted.
First, I just want to encourage this committee to not keep increasing heightening the bar of what we request from applicants. We encourage people to go out and talk to the community. I don't think, as has been said, numbers and statistics of percentage of population, like, let's not keep making things harder. But I just want to come back to, I'm trying to get us close to a solution, and if compromises need to be made. So I put out there possible hiring a security guard. If that's I just wanted to hear, that being addressed, but also potentially, one more thing just to throw out, of course, is midnight closing still on Thursday, but giving you your 2 a.m. on the weekends, Friday, Saturday.
So if I could jump in
Wait,
this
wait,
time,
wait,
and could I
Joseph,
just
please.
address that?
Joe, please. Ted?
Sorry, that's the second time he asked that.
Yeah, sorry, that was for
Okay,
me.
yeah,
Or-
we heard. Okay, Ted?
I mean, usually the SLA doesn't even entertain applicant coming back before a year time. I think us voting on this early, because they do have a lot of positive things, I think that we should do the solid for them and vote on it. But I would like to reiterate what Jesse said and Ingrid said, and I would like to say that I would be in favor of the hours that they requested with a closing on Thursday at midnight.
Okay, Christine?
Yeah, same thing. And I would just add that the door should be closed, as we said, at 9 o'clock, as the person suggested. That door should be closed at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m.
Okay, Joe, did you want to respond to the security that
Yes, I would love to.
Jesse raised? Go ahead.
Yeah, we are absolutely, can you hear me?
Yes.
So we're absolutely fine with that. Fortunately, we haven't had to deal with that issue at this point, but we realize that that could be necessary at certain times, and we 100%, if that's what's needed to make sure that we continue to be, excellent neighbors, we would have absolutely no problem with that at all. And as far as the time, just to clear up the hours, the reason that the main guidance why we included Thursday with Friday and Saturday is that was our original stipulations, is it was whether we called it weekend or not, it was that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'd been approved for the original hours as a separately from the quote unquote weekday hours. So, but that said, if that's a sticking point, we're flexible, or we think we'd be happy to be reasonable. We hope maybe you'd consider 1 a.m. For Thursday and 2 for the weekend, but again, we're flexible.
Yeah, Joe, and it is correct that in terms of hours, we do tend to think about it as Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday to Wednesday. But I think there's pretty strong sentiment here, and I sort of think it would be a gesture of goodwill to the concerned residents, of which there are not an insignificant amount if we kept Thursday at midnight. Again, that's just my view. Christine, did you have something else to say before we get back to security?
No, I'm sorry, that's my old end. I just wanted to make sure that we would close the window or the door.
I'll go through all this when we have time to vote.
Got it.
Joe, what were you suggesting about security? That you'd hire someone for certain hours, or you would if it became necessary, or what was your proposal?
I mean, if the board, I would rather have some flexibility so that we could, respond in, when we see, exactly what's necessary, to not have security if it's not like it has not been necessary to this point. But we would absolutely 100% if it was necessary, and if it was deemed required at certain hours, we would be okay with that as well. And then if I could just say one thing about the doors, I would love if you would entertain, giving us a chance to monitor and manage the sound issues when the doors open, and at least maybe provide an hour so that when it's a warm day or
Joe, on that one, the proposal now is you can keep them open up until 9 p.m.
Okay, I missed that.
That was suggested by one of your neighbors who had mixed feelings about you, but thought you should get to keep your doors open.
Okay.
I don't really want to impose additional expense, and I'm not sure, what kind of shifts you can hire security for. I mean, ideally for me would be if you could have someone there between like midnight and 2 on Friday and Saturday, but I don't know if you can hire people for just 2 hours. Ted, do you have any idea?
I mean, the community seems that the neighborhood is safer having them on the block. So I think, having someone come in for a 4-hour shift and come in a little bit early just to check IDs to make sure that minors and stuff aren't getting on the weekends would be beneficial for them. And they can definitely get somebody to come in for a shorter shift, or they can extend it if it's going to help protect their business from, any outside liability. It's just to their advantage.
And Ted, in your experience in the industry,
might actually
lower
possibility. Might lower your insurance too, so that might be good.
Okay,
Jesse, would you be okay with them starting off with security from midnight to, a minimum from midnight to 2 on Friday and Saturday?
Was that question for me? Yeah, I'm assuming that probably won't. I'm with you. They probably can't get 2-hour shifts, but I would be, just because I recognize it is an additional expense. For me personally, if you had security from 10 p.m. till closing, I actually would be fine with you even having the 2 a.m. on Thursday with security, but I don't think that'll be popular among the committee, and I already see shaking heads. But the point is, we would see that is an additional expense, and it would be appreciated, I think.
May I just say one thing, Frank?
Sure.
We have to retain a private security guard company. I don't know how easy it'll be to get two days with 2-hour shifts.
Well, that's why I'm saying, I think it would probably be, I think Ted just said, maybe he thinks that did you say that you think you can get 4-hour shifts? Is that possible? Yeah, you can get 4 hours.
Could we possibly I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, yeah, the stipulation suggestion would be, 4-hour shifts on Friday and Saturday.
Go ahead, Frank. Did you have another?
I was just going to ask that, what if we left it to as needed and we revisit it 6 months after the late hours?
No, I think it should be, we should say the minimum of 2 hours, and then you guys figure what the minimum you can manage.
Very hard to get a company to provide a man for 2 hours.
If you have to provide for 4, then that's what you do.
Right. That's going in the wrong direction.
The minimum is 2. That doesn't mean that's what you do.
Yeah. Well, let's just
keep in mind you're also getting 2 more extra hours of revenue of business. So it might not be that hard of an ask. I know it seems like, it's an expense, but you're also, peak time on weekends, you're getting more business. So, it's better to have the security now than have a problem later.
So committee, I just wanted to see on this issue. So the committee, just sort of a straw poll, how many people would want there to be security in order to vote in favor of how to phrase this?
Yep.
How important is security to people who would support the later hours? How many people would only support the later hours if there's Friday, Saturday security? That's my question.
And I think what we're talking about, security for not so much having, Bob rolls, but we're talking about the logistics of people entering and leaving, hanging out on the street.
Quietly.
That's what we're really interested
Your
in.
neighbors.
It's not, people ending up fighting over a drink or something.
All right, so
Correct.
Frank, you got the answer.
Of barricade. There's another, there's a bar around the corner that's on a very quiet residential block. And whenever I leave there, you have someone out front, not because they're checking, not as a bouncer, but just to shoo people away as soon as they leave.
Keep it quiet. It's residential. Yes. It's most important to please be aware of our neighbors.
So Jesse, you're saying this.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Joe. I would just say that already has been my role in most cases, or if not, as somebody who's managing on a very, very rare occasion. But otherwise, I mean, again, we're open and flexible and respectful of what the community, thinks is best. But I mean, to have some flexibility would seem to make sense.
Okay.
But I
let
want
me
to see what you think.
Yeah. So, to make a couple points, as Ted pointed out, and as the opposition letters have pointed out, you are coming back to us early, and I think we are this serious about it only because of the sort of almost, as Bert said, the basically unanimous support for you as an operator. But I think people would be, obviously the committee has indicated they'd be more comfortable with security on Friday and Saturday. But to flip Frank's comment, if it seems completely unnecessary and, you want to come back in 6 months to stop it, why don't you see how it works out? Because I think that is going to be, I think that is an important component of support for you guys. But let me.
I think it's a fair proposal.
Yeah. So let me summarize what I have. And then
Frank, for a second. Frank, hold on, because I see
more
Tina
people,
and Christine have their hands up.
Yep, sorry.
Well, I was going to make a motion to summarize what I
Okay,
heard.
so I was going to summarize it. I have it all written
Frank's
down.
summarizing. Tina, did you?
No,
Okay.
that's fine. I think the summary is going to take care of it.
Okay, Frank, summarize away.
All right, so Joe and Kara, I want to, just so the record's clear. Are you still okay ending with the live music stip? So I wanted to carry over the stips from last time, which are that you'd implement the recommendations of the acoustic log report. There'd be no DJ or karaoke, no music or amplified sound in any outdoor space, no use of rear yard or rear door. And to the extent permitted by law, you'd arrange for installation of a gate or other barrier to prevent patrons from sitting, smoking, or congregating. And then the other one was live music will end no later than 10 p.m. with no more than 3 performers and acoustic only, not amplified. Are you still okay with those from last time?
100%.
Okay. So we're going to carry those over, and then new ones would be your closing hours would now be 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday and midnight Sunday through Thursday. All doors will be closed no later than 9 p.m. nightly, except when used for entering and exiting. Applicant will provide for 1 security personnel for the hours between, at a minimum, for the hours between midnight and 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Let's ask the applicant first. Are you okay with all of that?
Yes. Kara, yes.
All right.
Motion to approve.
What about the closing hours on Thursday? Or did
No,
you?
we said
Midnight.
12. Midnight, Ted.
Midnight.
So motion to approve.
Here, a second. Tina, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Present not eligible? Abstaining. Okay.
Just to remind both Kara and Joseph, and also, any community members, this is going to be considered by the full board at its next meeting, which is the first Monday in December. And, anyone can come and speak for or against. It's not interactive like this. You would speak at the start of the meeting in a public session. I'm not saying you need to be there. And, there wasn't much opposition, verbal opposition at this meeting. So I'm not sure anyone will come to the full board meeting, but I just wanted to make sure everyone realized that that is a possibility and an opportunity for people to be heard yet again and by the full board.
And I'd like to add one more thing. I noticed, it was very obvious to me, not noticed, that there's been no conversation between you and the Block Association. And I know it takes 2 people or 3 people to have a conversation. And if one group doesn't want that conversation. The Block Association was not here tonight. That stuck out clearly. But I would really suggest on your part, do as much as you can to meet and reach with the Block Association and have that conversation.
Turn the oven on.
Okay?
Hey, Frank, just to correct you a bit, the board meeting is December 7th, which is a Wednesday, not a Monday.
Oh, I don't know where I got Monday. I just misspoke. Sorry.
Okay.
It's the first Wednesday of December.
3:50.
Yeah, what goes in the oven?
I'll
Thanks,
take care of
Michael.
it.
Okay.
Very good.
I had predicted this meeting was going to last another hour than it did. So thanks everyone for being sort of efficient in your comments and discussion.
Thank you all.
Happy Thanksgiving, all.
Hey.
Thank
Have
you
a
very
good
much.
Thanksgiving and
Bob.
good holiday, everybody.
You
Bye.
too.